in Dr. Covinson's work, he found that not only do people who took these bioregulators, they live longer, and he has averages for each one of the bioregulators, but he found that there was fewer instances of cancer. They were able to identify cerebral lysin, and that's the peptide that helps protect your brain from damage. It turns on acetylcholine pathways for new memory. It helps with dopamine, serotonin. But we've seen this have radical improvements for people who have had traumatic brain injuries specifically.
This is not something that you ever really think through, especially not on your own, but certainly not with like a primary care physician, right? Who you see once a year, maybe for 10 minutes. To just look at your life and think like, pause for a second, reflect on what am I doing every day? What could I be doing more of? What can I protect? And I just appreciate the moment to reflect on these things.
All right, welcome everybody to the Health Accelerator Challenge. And we're going to be continuing on our journey when we talk about longevity, all things that can massively transform your health and your life. And Jenny, how's things going in your world?
So good. Enjoying some more sunshine today.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of it here in Utah.
What about you?
I've had my positive focus, my gratitude today is all the cool people that I've been able to hang out with. And then I just had an amazing podcast, amazing interview that I did with Dan Sullivan, because every year Dan and I do for our birthdays. So his birthday is May 19th, mine's May 20th. And so every 12 months I get to interview him. And we had an amazing conversation, like by far the best podcast I've ever done with Dan.
So cool. I can't wait to hear it.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Dan Sullivan's one of my mentors. He just turned 78 last May. And he said this has been his healthiest year yet when it comes to his health. He's reversed his biological age, and he attributed a lot to the first time he visited us in, I believe it was 2017 and 2018. Him and Babs were coming to the clinic. In 2019 was the last time, and then COVID hit. And that's what stopped everything. But that's the first time he's been able to reverse his biological age. Even though the calendar age was going up, his biological age finally started going down. And that was after years of trying unsuccessfully. And now this last year, it's gone down even more. And so he talks about all the latest secrets that he's had to experience that.
That's so cool. I remember when they came, we got to get him back.
Yeah, they have it in their plans, and he's so booked out that it's really challenging, but he keeps coming up to me and he said, all right, we're going to get you back on the schedule. So that's good, because he's very intentional. And we got Cade with us. Cade, how's your day been?
It's been a great day. So good that I forgot what day it was. And I was like ready to take you home. Back it up and everything.
I know. That's why I was like, Cade, are you going to join or not? And so we started without you, buddy.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I walked to the door and I heard you talking, and I sprinted back and got my studio set up. So sorry, everybody. I had a moment there.
Yeah. No worries. You're forgiven. I've forgotten what day it is many a time. So, today we're going to talk about some interesting things, and I'm going to share with you guys never before seen. One of the beautiful things you get as part of the Health Accelerator community is you guys get a front row seat to some of the new projects that I'm working on. And maybe that's a benefit, maybe not. Maybe it's more of a stress than anything. But as we're going through the 9 hallmarks of aging, what I've been doing is I've been taking these 9 hallmarks and I've been saying, okay, well, what can we do? What action items can we take to start reversing these 9 hallmarks of aging? And so what you guys see here, for those of you who are watching this, is you see the 10 peptide pathways. And I say 10 because I added in another hallmark of aging called the nitric oxide pathway. But what I've done is I've taken each one of these hallmarks of aging, and I've created a strategy with peptides, and it's research based. I have my artificial intelligence research assistant with Sage. If you guys want to use Sage, go to poe.com, POE.com, and just phenomenal tools there. And so I've used that along with talking to Justin Kirkland. He's a peptide scientist, and we've created some very phenomenal things for you today. So, and this will be soon, we'll put it into a beautiful kind of customized sheet, and I'll make sure that you guys get that. So, Kate and Jenny, you guys cool if we jump into some of the science behind the hallmarks of aging?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Very excited. Let's go.
Okay, so put your nerd hat on because it's going to be, it's there. So if you think of genomic stability, so I reverse it. So one of the hallmarks of aging is genomic instability, and I just did the reverse. So instead of telomere shortening, I did telomere lengthening, in case you guys are wondering what the thinking process is and wondering what Reagan does on the weekends. Yes, this is what I do on the weekends. So genomic stability means you being unchanged and undamaged. So as we age, one of the biggest things that happens is our DNA, it's like a car that's been driven too many miles. Things start to come apart. You notice the seat gets worn out, the tires start to show wear and tear. Even the body of the car starts to rust out. And it's no different in our biology, but that's called genomic instability. But what we want to do is make sure that your biology is always working really well. And every time you come into the clinic, every time you take a peptide or any of the supplements that we recommend, we're creating more tightening in your DNA. And so when you think of genomic stability, the best way that you can have this long-term stable DNA is by detoxifying your body and cleansing it. And so I asked the question, in what ways do you detoxify and cleanse, and how often are you doing it? So, Jenny, do you have any kind of a protocol that you use to keep your body detoxified, cleansed?
Well, definitely exercise, sweating every single day. I like taking hot showers or Epsom salt baths with minerals in it. Epsom salt baths are great for that. I will do celery juice drinks. It's not like a cleanse that I do, but I do drink it regularly. I know that apples are really great for your liver, detoxifying. So I love green apples. My husband hated them until I forced him to eat it all the time, and now he loves them. So anyways, that's a little.
You forced Andrew to eat a green apple? Did you like?
He thought they were too sour. Yeah, I shoved it in his mouth.
This relationship's gonna last. You're gonna eat this green apple.
Detoxify. Oh, and water, obviously, huge.
Oh yeah, yeah. So these are all like really good ways, and like the pectin in apples is so good for the gut bacteria, the sourness that you taste. I mean, it's great that you forced your husband to do that. You've got to, someone's got to take control in the relationship, Jenny.
Truly.
But the nice thing about that sour flavor is there's terpenes and there's different chemicals that create that sourness that actually is an astringent for your liver. And so it's like your liver is like a sponge and it helps to wring it out. So eating sour foods, eating bitter is really good for the heart. Things that are more salty are really good for the kidneys. Pungent foods are really good for the lungs. So, and then sweet foods can be good for the spleen and stomach as long as it's in very, very small amounts. But I mean, it's like we forget these flavors are ways that you can create genomic stability. And so on a peptide side, one of the things that we hosted last Friday, we had our peptide masterclass, and we'll have some podcasts being released on that very soon. But I talked extensively on the bioregulator peptides. And how many of you have been on any bioregulators yet? Let's by a show of hands. And I would, if we didn't have some, HIPAA laws, I would just, I would just call each one of you out. I wouldn't do that though, unless I got your permission. But yeah, if you want to share what bioregulators you've tried, what your experience has been like. I know many of you on the Health Accelerator Challenge today, you've been on several of these so far. Cade, you've been on the bioregulators. What's been your experience?
Yeah, I've been on Testalutin, and I've just picked up some Polo as well, which is Testalutin with two other compounds.
The prostate, it's got the prostate and the vessels.
Yes. So excited to try that one. But yeah, Testalutin, feel like energy level is a little just more stable, longer lasting, more endurance. So yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, that's great. And the peptide bioregulator. Oh, sorry, did I cut you off, Kate?
No, I was just going to mention Sierra's doing the Lady. So she's on Lady, and I think cycles a little more normalized.
Man. And that's, Misha shared her experience with Lady a couple weeks ago, and she's like digging it. And she shared her husband's experience being on the Polo formula. I don't know if he's on Testalutin or Polo. I think it was Testalutin actually, but one of the bioregulators in Polo, and phenomenal, like just feeling stronger, running more energy to exercise. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the bioregulators is, as I dove into the research, the way that these bioregulators were formed is Dr. Covinson was saying, well, what is it in food that creates all these healing benefits? And he was able to isolate it down to these small little, precursors to protein structures called peptides. And he calls them bioregulators because they have 5 or fewer amino acid chains. So they're very short amino acid chains, which means they have a lot of energy that hold them together. And it's the most energetic part of the foods that you eat. And then if you're introducing them into your body, then there's a particular energetic pathway in foods that go to different organ systems. And so in Chinese medicine, we were just talking about flavors, right, Jenny? And Jenny really thinks sour is important for her husband, which we're not going to argue with that. And so that sour is really good for the liver. It's like, I was talking about that astringent factor. And so it's no different with the peptide bioregulators. You just don't have to taste it to get the benefits of activating a certain genetic response. And in Dr. Covinson's work, he found that not only do people who took these bioregulators, they live longer, and he has averages for each one of the bioregulators, but he found that there was fewer instances of cancer, less heart disease, less diabetes. So it helps turn everything on. And if you're, for example, if you're producing too much testosterone, like if Cade was producing a dangerous amount of testosterone, the Polo and a Testalutin will bring that down to a normalized level. Whereas if he's producing too low levels of testosterone, it will raise it up. And so that's the beautiful thing of these bioregulators is they are adaptogenic by nature. And so if you want to really supercharge it, when you use the longer amino acid chains, that's where we have thymosin alpha 1. And Jenny, do you know we've got cerebral lysine and thymosin alpha 1 coming to me right now? It's somewhere out there.
Somewhere in the compounding world.
Yeah, all the way from Thailand, which is crazy.
Wow.
And because we haven't been able to compound these. And so we found a source, and they follow all of the FDA criteria. Wow. And because it's under the orphan drug status, we're able to get these shipped out. And and do it compliantly. And so I will be the first patient. And I can tell you that the thymosin alpha 1 and cerebrolysin are two peptides that have been game changers for hundreds of patients. And when the pharmacies stopped making it here in the United States, it was devastating, but I didn't want to just go and use a rogue source. So now we found one.
That's so exciting. We have lots of people waiting for it. So woo-hoo.
Yes. Yeah, big news. And Jenny's a lot of Jenny's as far as your genomic stability, Jenny, I bet your DNA would do way better if the pharmacies would just ship peptides when they say they're going to do it, and let us know.
Truly. That is the biggest issue.
If you could just get them to eat more green apples, I bet the pharmacies would ship peptides on time.
I should just ship them a box at this point, I think.
Yeah, let's do it. Yes. So genomic stability, so unchanged and undamaged. So, and if any of you artists out there have any insights on how we can structure this, this will be a tool that we'll just use forever. It's been probably this single page is probably about maybe nothing short of 20 hours of work, just condensing it down to simple and easy, but also looking at how these pathways work, which has been super fascinating. So telomere lengthening. You're younger the older you get. How many of you want to be younger the older you get?
That sounds awesome.
Me.
Yeah, because you wouldn't trade anything for all of your experiences in life and the wisdom that you cultivate and your insights and thinking. But you would have younger biology, right? It's like, well, that's huge. If I can keep all the experiences I've had, but start reversing the age of my biology, that's the goal. And that's what telomere lengthening does. So what engages the telomere lengthening from a lifestyle is the same thing that helps with genomic stability: exercise, fasting, relaxation, cold, heat exposure. All those things are really important for telomere lengthening. And so one of the most powerful peptides that's been studied on lengthening telomeres is actually a telomerase enzyme called epitalin. And epitalin is the first signal from our pineal glands. It's a peptide that gets released that triggers the enzyme that creates longer telomeres on the end of the DNA. Cade, Jenny, do you guys want to explain what telomeres do for the DNA?
Oh man, Cade, this is on you. Take it away.
So your telomere.
You could always pass the ball back to me if I just don't want.
I'm going to pass on this one.
That's all right. So your telomeres are like think of them as like the shoelaces. So they connect everything, and so if they get loose or they start shortening up, they're going to shorten your age. And so if you can have them lengthened and tightened, think of your shoelaces. If they're all floppy and loosey goosey, your shoes are going to fall off. So think about your DNA just unwinding. Not a good thing. So yeah, you want them nice and tight.
There you go. So it's like that double helix, right? And all it does is it silences that double helix. So it's like having an engine that doesn't vibrate in the car. So love it. Well done, Kate.
You did
Bravo.
a good job, Kate. I think I learned about telomeres in like 9th grade biology, and I've forgotten. So you did a great job. We're all going to remember that now.
Yeah. Well, Jenny, if you would have been listening to the hacks when you're in 9th grade, you probably would have done better on that biology test.
I think so.
Yes, get all your 9th graders on the hacks. That's the challenge for this week.
That's a great challenge, Kate. Get your kids, your grandkids on there. I wonder what kind of questions there'd be like. Can you please not make this so boring? I'm like, can you ask something better?
Less science, more graphics, please.
Yes. So the other thing you can add in with the epitalin is cerebrolysin. And cerebrolysin is a peptide. It's a longer peptide chain, but actually it was originally discovered in the brains of pigs. And so pig organs are the closest organs that mimic human organs. So You can do transplants with like pig kidneys, pig hearts, and there's some interesting things that can happen. But in the pig brains, they were able to identify cerebrolysin, and that's the peptide that helps protect your brain from damage. It turns on acetylcholine pathways for new memory. It helps with dopamine, serotonin. But we've seen this have radical improvements for people who have had traumatic brain injuries specifically. And it's been 4 years now since we've used this. And out of all the peptides, I've missed cerebrolysin the most. So I'm excited to get this one. Dihexa. Many of you have taken Dihexa. You can take it orally. It can be applied to your carotid artery topically as well. And Dihexa is a peptide that not only helps lengthen the telomeres as far as the blood vessels go in your body, but it also helps stabilize the neurons in your brain. And then NuPep. NuPep is one of the nootropics that we now carry at East West. I'm so proud to say. Sarah did a bunch of work and found a great source of nootropics. So we have NuPep for you, and that creates a younger but more mature brain. So the telomere lengthening actually starts, as you guys could imagine, in your brain. So NuPep was the nootropic of the year a couple of years ago. A bunch of us nerds, about 1,500 of us, voted on which one created the best focus, energy, stress resiliency without a crash, no headaches. There's no stimulants in nootropics. So, we're not worried about that. But NuPep just seems to be like a very perfect molecule for just holistic brain health. So if you want to try it, NuPep, we've got a few left, and you can just text us or come to the office and give it a try. All right. So the third thing is epigenetic restoration. And so epigenome, how many of you know what the epigenome is? Because, we all get dealt a deck of cards, and life is meant to be playing with the cards you've been dealt. And I'm sure that, maybe some of you say, well, Reagan was not dealt a full deck of cards on certain days, but I don't take offense to that because I'm going to play with whatever cards I've been dealt. So, Kate, I don't want to hear anything smart from you.
Nothing. It's all right. Maybe you're sitting at like a 50 cards today. That's close to a full deck.
I didn't even know what a full deck is. So
52.
there's 52. Okay, there's evidence. Hey, that's the same amount of weeks that there are in a year. Is that why they did it like that?
I think it's just the amount of cards times 4.
Oh.
So you got, ace through king.
And then you got, are the joker, where's the extra 4? Because 52 is not really a even multiple of 4. Anyway, we're getting way off track.
Right, the tangent.
Yeah, that's hit the tangent button. We have those in our team meetings.
13 times 4, by the way.
Oh, there we go. So
52.
It doesn't have to be an even number, is what you're telling me. Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Well, all right. So epigenetic restoration. This is for your health resilience. So how many of you take your recovery just as serious as you take your exercise and your workouts? And how many of you take recovery from work just as serious as you do from the work itself? Dan Sullivan, who I mentioned earlier, he taught me the value of free days. And so he taught me the fact that if you don't protect your time, then there's always going to be work to fill in the void. And the universe hates a vacuum, and so it will fill it up. Just like our attention span needs to be put on something. And so this is where it's really important to protect your free days and to protect your recovery. So, and not only does the recovery help you feel better in the moment, but when future challenges come, which they inevitably will, you're more resilient to those. You know how to handle them better. Jenny, have you noticed a big improvement when you've taken recovery days? I know you shared last week the story of the pain that you started experiencing running, but maybe you could share some experiences you've had with using recovery.
Yeah. And I really, I like the word protect your recovery. I heard another time somebody said protect your sleep. I can't remember. It was a book I was reading. And I like the word protect because I think sometimes we're just told, like, make sure you recover, make sure you sleep at night. And it's just like, oh, it feels like another thing that I need to add to my list. But the word protect for some reason stands out to me because it feels like something that's like precious that you need to like prioritize in your life. So I like that word. But anyways,
I like that.
I think that, just in my life, my situations, my responsibility grew so significantly in a matter of becoming a mom that I just didn't have the time to recover that I had before. You parents understand. So I had to recover in other ways, and my life shifted because of that. And I think that, as Reagan said, like challenges come up in life. And so recovery one week might look really different from the next week. Maybe you have to take 2 free days the next week because something's going on. And so that's where you really have to become intuitive with your body and listen to your body and your mind.
Yeah. Well, and if you think of your time as your property, you wouldn't let someone come into your house and just start like messing it up and slamming doors and stuff, wrecking your bathroom. And so you've got to protect your time and your recovery. So I actually changed it from health resilience to health protection. So thanks.
That.
Yeah, I think that fits the epigenetic restoration even better because the epigenome, if you think of our DNA, all our DNA are looking to do is just send signals and receive signals. And then it's there to help with cellular expression. You've got roughly 220 different cell types in your body. And if the DNA are all firing, then all your cells are like really expressive and healthy. And you've got like this symphony that's just putting out beautiful music in your body. And so the epigenome is when we have stress that comes in, we have chemical exposure, we have infections, we have issues with trauma, like physical traumas, and all those things start to create this disharmony in the music. And so the epigenetic restoration, taking the time off, is really what it's all about. And so some of the peptides you can use are thymosin beta-4. This is the very first peptide that's expressed in our body when you have an injury, like you get a cut. And thymosin beta-4 calls your own stem cells into action. So many of you who have had any kind of regenerative medicine or rejuvenative medicine with us, with the perinatal tissue allografts, we use thymosin beta-4 to prepare your body, or we'll use it after the therapy as well. Sarcotropin IPA. This is, it went through all the three phases of clinical trials for sarcopenia. So sarcotropin IPA helps protect the epigenome because it keeps that master hormone, which is growth hormone, active and alive. And then it's got L-citrulline, L-arginine, so it creates nice blood circulation. And it's one of the best ways of creating brain protection with the nootropics in it, with the DMAO. And then it stimulates IGF-1, which is the gene that turns on BDNF. And then thymosin alpha-1, which we mentioned earlier, but that's to regulate the thymus gland, which is the training ground for your white blood cells. And then what this does is it protects the DNA methylation patterns, helps with histone modification so that double helix that we've been talking about stays nice and protected, even though you're still influenced by your environment. It's not that the environment's changing you, it's that you have protection, using Jenny's term, is protection and resilience against those stressors that come. So that's number 3. So epigenetic restoration. And then we'll finish on number 4, and then we can pick up on number 5 next week, and maybe we'll have some cool art next week as well. But before we move on to number 4, what are each of you getting out of these different hallmarks of aging, or hallmarks of age reversal is what I think I may call this the 10 keys of Hallmark, or the 10 hallmarks of age reversal.
I like that.
I like it. I think looking at each of the different peptides and different ways that you can influence each of these hallmarks is really fascinating. So, utilizing on the genomic stability, you got like thymosin alpha 1, some of your immune peptides, some of the bioregulators, just so cool. I love epitalin for the telomere lengthening. I'm excited that we got some cerebrolysin back, potentially, or not potentially, it's coming, it's on its way. Love that. And then the recovery side on the restoration and protection. We got some of those. Thymosin beta 4 is a game changer in my mind. That one just amazing for recovery and delayed onset muscle soreness.
It's a beast for that, man. Love it. Good. Any takeaways from you, Jenny?
I just appreciate the reminders of like what is aging me. And kind of, this is not something that you ever really think through, especially not on your own, but certainly not with like a primary care physician, right? Who you see once a year, maybe for 10 minutes. To just look at your life and think like, pause for a second, reflect on what am I doing every day? What could I be doing more of? What can I protect? And I just appreciate the moment to reflect on these things.
Yeah. It's kind of nice because I know for some of you, it may feel like we're getting super granular and we're going through all these, like the super scientific nerdy stuff. But actually, it's if you just think about the way your body works and biology and what aging really is, to your point, Jenny, then you can take action and knowledge is power. But learning is when you actually do something about it. So you haven't really learned anything, and knowledge is absolutely useless if it doesn't get applied. So hopefully you guys are seeing there's some application, there's some science, but then there's really big things you can start doing right away to reverse this process. Because I can tell you, the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be. Jenny's going to be the youngest old person around. Absolutely.
Oh gosh, I hope. With Reagan's help, maybe.
Just keep forcing your husband to eat the apples because you'll want him along for the ride.
Yeah, will do.
Okay, so we're going to finish on increased proteostasis because I've talked to a lot of you about increasing your protein. Because as we age, we lose the ability to break down the proteins and get the proteins into muscle. So essentially, you need to eat almost twice the amount of protein as we age. And the average person over 65 eats half of the amount of protein that they need on a daily basis because you don't crave it. I was just talking to a patient today and I'm like, well, what protein source can we get you eating? She's like, the only kind of meat I like is prime rib. I'm like, great. Can you eat it twice a day? She's like, really? I'm like, absolutely. And so, and her red blood cells were low. Her B vitamins are low. I'm like, it's going to change your life just doing that one thing. So, so increased proteostasis means cellular and muscle building. And so the two ways that you can increase proteostasis is by eating protein, which we've already mentioned, and then time under tension. What does time under tension mean, Cade?
That is like weightlifting. So time under the bar.
Yep. That means, if you can do the
muscle
rapid
strain.
That's it. Yeah. If it takes you 1 second to do it, well, give yourself 2, give yourself 10 seconds, just slow down when you're doing your exercise because it's the amount of time under tension that really helps prime the muscles because we want each one of you to have a muscled up future. And we've had an entire podcast on that. We've got lots of great resources on building muscle, but it's like eating protein, time under tension. There's one other thing that causes an increase of proteostasis, and those are peptides. So what's interesting is peptides aren't complete protein chains. And so what your body's doing is it's using these peptides as resources And those resources get funneled to areas of your body that are depleted or deficient. And then these peptide bonds, which are folded in a very unique way, when those bonds get broken, that's where you get the energy. And that's where I was just talking to one of our clients today. And he is just so excited. He's going to make a movie about everything. And it's called The Truth About Medicine. And we did Pain Revealed with this individual. And he's super happy. He won't mind me sharing, but I won't say his name because I didn't get 100% permission. But he said, this is the most exciting process I've ever been through in my entire life. He just finished a 7-month program. Now he's on our longevity optimization program. And he said, I said, well, what do you like about it? And he says, well, it just works and I can feel it. He said, a lot of supplement companies, the old trick is they just throw caffeine in it so you can feel something from the supplement. And
I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, that's like classic MLM style, is where you just get caffeinated, so you're just stimulating. You're like, this stuff is working.
I feel great.
Yeah, and it's like, well, yeah, of course you do, because you're on a stimulant, but there's a price to be paid at the end of the day. But he's like, with peptides, he feels the benefit and he looks better. He looks younger. He's getting more fit. His stress resiliency is down. His creativity's through the roof. So it's because peptides are increasing proteostasis amongst all these other things.
Love it. That's so cool. I'm excited for that movie.
Yeah, it's going to be just the title alone. He's been waiting for 10 years to release it. He just didn't know who to do it with. And so now he's like, oh, I know. So I'm like, great, let's do it. Because, but with this, there's growth hormone, secretagogues, there's hormone replacement therapy. Testosterone is one of the most important hormones to allow you to hold on to muscle. And there's ways of stimulating naturally. Right now, we've got 2 really powerful, highly studied herbal formulas. One's called Agresta folia. The other one is called Tongat Ali. And these both help improve testosterone levels, which is important in men and women. And so that's a way you can increase proteostasis. Gonadorelin, which is a peptide that works on the gonadotropin pathway, which stimulates follicular and luteinizing hormones, which triggers the release of hormones in your body. Thymosin beta-4, that increases the production of certain proteins. And then even Selenk, the nasal spray that many of you have been on, it increases the amount of proteins and the synthesis in your brain. And then epitalin, which we've talked about already, it reduces oxidative stress, which improves proteostasis. So many great things you can do to help increase your cell and muscle building and, live with unreasonable health for an unreasonably long period of time. So. All right. So what's the challenge this week? Well,
we talked about one challenge is get your kids and grandkids on the podcast, especially if they're in 9th grade science. They need to hear this. Mm-hmm. Learn about DNA. Challenge.
I'll be selfish and say a challenge that I'm going to take away for myself. I really liked our conversation around detoxing, but also around protecting something that maybe you find more of a burden in your health. Like I said, I've always been a good sleeper. I've never had a problem with sleep, but sometimes it feels like something that I just have to check off to be healthy is go to bed early. I shifted that to protect my sleep. And like I said, it becomes more of a priority and something that I look forward to now. And so maybe switching something that feels like a burden to more of something that feels like something that's valuable that
you're protecting. I like that. I love that, Jenny.
Yeah, there we go. So challenge of the week is find something in your health that you need to protect. Did I say that right, Jenny?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I like it. It might be your sleep. It might be, hey, I need to protect myself against sugar, protect myself against alcohol, against stimulants, whatever it might be. Let's deploy, let's stop defunding the health police. Let's get the protectors back out there. So
there you go.
Should we make this super political? We can pull in Bud Light.
Protect the green apples.
There we go. Yes.
You're not a burden.
Yes. Awesome. The gender specific green apples are my favorite.
Yes.
Beautiful. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for being part of our community. And make sure you share this podcast. By the way, we've got retreats coming up. We've got one April 27th. I believe we've got 4 spots left. If you've not been to a retreat, reach out to us immediately. If you've been to one and you want to come to another one, I'd love to have you there as a guest. Once again, it's April 27th. We've got one in May, and then we've got another one in June. The benefits of a retreat are, first of all, you get to spend a lot of time just hanging out with us, and we try to have a lot of fun. So we throw a peptide party. We have a stem cell party. So you get to try a lot of nuanced peptides. You have a great chance of doing some stem cell rejuvenation for yourself. That the other thing that we do is vitamin IVs. We have great discussions. We have these thinking tools that you go through so you can actually map out the future of your health in a way that's very simple, very succinct. So these retreats are our way of creating community and giving back to you. We want to do that because there's so many people who walk around with really poor health, and we don't want you to be one of those people. We want you to have incredible health at any age, and we're going to show you how to get there at those retreats. And so it's just a day. Imagine spending one day where you can do as much work in a day as most people do in a year when it comes to their health. You can have that happen at these retreats. So did I miss anything on the retreats, Kate or Jenny?
No, I think, and it's a amazing attendees. You get to talk and meet with some of the other patients that are going through similar experiences. And I think it's just a really fun, enjoyable event to socialize as well as hang out with a really cool team and learn and do some health upgrades. And you can check out more about this at acueastwest.com/retreats. And you can actually request to sign up there. If you're listening to this recording, it may be the retreats, April 27th. I think this will be published right around that same time. And so still go to that site and you can look at any future stuff we have going on.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you guys very much, and we'll see you next week.
Awesome. See you, everybody.